Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Between a Pot and a Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I'm Chris Kirkpatrick.
All right. Can you hear me okay? It sounds good?
I can hear you great. I know that you got our new setup and everything, but
yeah.
Good.
It's because I have my microphone or my headphones plugged into my microphone. That's mostly why I wear them, so I can monitor the sound of my own voice. And I don't hear it as much as I normally do. So I'm like, is it coming across? Oh, my gosh. So if you can hear me, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, something to start off things. I didn't know today was like, what is it, like International like Spider-Man Day or something like that?
It is. I didn't realize it either. Oddly enough, I didn't realize it until I had pasted that meme earlier. So yeah. I thought that was cool. Kind of odd timing.
I had this. This is the stand for like a different figure, but it says DC on it. There's probably going to be people out there hating, how dare you put him on a DC stand? That means, like, don't criticize.
Yes.
But, yeah, I just wanted to kind of, like, throw him on there real quick. But
yeah.
I keep wanting to say happy birthday, Spider-Man, but it's not his birthday.
No.
The actual – I know we don't talk about Wonder Woman or Batman as much, but one of the reasons I had these things set out is this figure is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this figure, and I got these on a clearance for $5.
That's the Wonder Woman 84 figure.
84, yeah. And the stand is for her. And also, real quick, I just want to show this one off, too, while I'm at it. This Joker.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I really love this Joker. I mean, he's got this long gun, and he also has, like, a crowbar. But, yeah, these were both, like, $5. And these kinds of things these days are, like, $20 a piece. And I happened to be in a Walmart yesterday, and I was like, let me scan, because they have the app on your phone. I just scanned the price thing on it, and it's like, boom, $5.54. Like, really? Okay, yes, please.
Wow.
I just wish they had more of them in stock. I probably would have bought multiples to give away as like contests or something like that. But
you would have ended up blowing your entire budget, though, going and doing that.
I really didn't have any money, but for $5, I was like, man, I have to have these.
Right. Right. It is. I'm guessing that's your kryptonite.
Yeah, figures. I don't know what it is, but like I'll watch YouTube and watch figure collectors go across the country. It started with wrestling figures. There are some wrestlers that have this YouTube channel, and they go around when they're in different towns and they like collect old figures, different stuff. And I watch it, and it's like addicting. I see it, and I'm like, I have to do it. And when I had a really good job back in like May, I was buying probably 3 or 4 figures every week. Oh, wow. I would get off work and watch their YouTube videos. Like, okay, tomorrow I got to go to like a Target or wherever and buy a figure. It's ridiculous, but it's better. I could be buying heroin or something like that. So so
you're certainly showing restraint by not going to the hardcore drugs and just doing superhero figurines.
Unless you consider Werther's sugar-free hardcore, but
that's hey, serious, Stephen. Pretty serious.
Okay, so yeah. Spider-Man Day. Woo.
So the question I think that comes up so often in social media is, who is your favorite Spider-Man, right? Who's the actor specifically who plays the character? I know that I've got my favorites. I'm a big Tom Holland fan. I think Tom Holland just has this amazing youthful energy. Especially the banter that Tom Holland brings to the character. As a Spider-Man comic lover, even before the cartoons and the live action shows, just that aspect, Spider-Man has quite a mouth, a lot of smack talk.
He does.
In the middle of the battles, just constantly jabbering. And I think that was part of his superpower, was that he was going to humiliate the other person or beat them or both. And so I feel like Tom Holland channels that aspect of Spider-Man the most.
I think so too, and I think a part of it becomes, the character of Peter Parker, at least in the earlier days, the animated series, not so much. He's like 25 or something like that.
Right.
But in the comics and stuff, he's 14, 15 years old, and so of course teenagers have a smart mouth. They're which it happens to everybody, so it kind of works alongside that. And Tobey Maguire had a little bit of that, some of those quick little, one-liners in the first movie and some in the second, and even some in the third a little bit. But the third, I can't unsee the whole like gothic dancing and all that. Yeah. And when he's in the hallway with the neighbor's daughter or the landlord's daughter, she's like, "Go make me some cookies. Go make me some lemonade." I'm just like, and I'm kind of like, I think this is Andrew Garfield's suit. I think this is a figure of that version. I don't know. It looks more like that one, which he is. I think, and we talked about this like last week. I think with Jay Todd. But overall, and I kind of. I don't want to say got into a Twitter argument, but on our Twitter, someone had commented that Tom Holland is the worst and this and that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, overall, I can see the idea that, the nostalgia and the story and the overall like memories of the movies, Tobey Maguire, the first movie, is probably going to stick out in my mind as like my favorite, not so much favorite film overall or favorite Spider-Man overall, but overall experience, I guess. Because I did get to see that in the theater, and that was really cool. Live action Spider-Man on a huge screen like that, But Tom Holland for sure. As far as you take the character out of it and just put him on his own, Peter Parker, he's the best. It just seems the most accurate as far as the personality.
That's where I feel about it too. Though I will say again, Tobey Maguire was my first taste of live action Spider-Man. And I really feel like what he brought to the character. I mean, I think that he does a very good comic accurate Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. I think that as far as villains go, I thought his villains were top notch. Right? You had when you had Doc Ock with Alfred Molina.
Perfect.
And I think those villains probably rival any of the other villains that we see other than Thanos for Tom Holland.
Thanos is probably, as far as overall villains and superhero films in general, I think Thanos is probably like the biggest threat, unless you count Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League, which we didn't see a lot of Darkseid in that anyway. But if you look at just villains like Darkseid, I think like Darkseid versus Thanos would be interesting to see. But yeah, and my favorite villain probably in a Spider-Man movie, it's got to be Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. That's just me. Something about that character. It looked comic accurate, except without the purple, and he didn't have the purse where he carried all his explosives in. Right. It just kind of came out of the flyer, or the glider, whatever you want to call it, which was cooler. He just like pushes a button and one shoots up. Like that's even cooler. It's modern. It's kind of cheesy though that like the helmet, the suit, and this evil-looking monster suit just so happened to be the design of a test flight suit. That's just what it looked like. And like, really, okay. But I mean, overall, it was cool. Like my biggest beef with the Amazing Spider-Man films was that like Oscorp created everything. And it's like, you can't, I don't know. It's like at the end of the second movie, you see all those chambers of like, this is the symbiote, this is this, this is this, this is this. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, across the board, people will get into knockout, drag-out fights.
Yeah.
Between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. People don't seem to argue a whole lot about Andrew Garfield.
No.
Garfield is sort of like automatically relegated to that third place spot, unless somebody brings up Miles Morales, right? In which case he gets shunted to fourth. And so I find that what's crazy is that Andrew Garfield is a great actor. He has great acting chops. He's been in some wonderful movies. Hacksaw Ridge. He'd been in Doctor Who. I've seen him do some stage shows and productions. The guy can act. I think that the storyline suffered a little bit. The writing for me wasn't as up to par as what we had seen with Tobey Maguire. And I almost felt too along the lines that by the time his came around, we had already gone through Peter Parker as the high school student. We finally felt like the storyline was getting somewhere, and then they rebooted the whole universe and started all over again.
Yeah.
I felt like, great, we're getting the story again. And so I think that really had happened. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I fall with the whole thing. Some people are ready to to fight and come to blows over it. I still enjoy all of the movies though, no matter what.
Yeah, I love watching them all. It's Spider-Man 3, the original Spider-Man 3 is probably the worst of all the movies. And people are like, how dare you say that? Sandman's storyline was so well done. It's perfect. Perfect casting, perfect situation, the emotion, like everything about it was great. And had that movie just been that, it would have been awesome. It would have been my favorite Spider-Man movie. But you just have to throw Topher Grace, Eddie Brock, Venom. Why? And if you're going to have Topher Grace play Venom, okay, fine. But when he has the suit on, don't have Topher Grace's voice. It's like, hi there, I'm Venom. I want to kill Spider-Man. It's like, you sound like a Disney princess. It's like, you can't, like, at least... I mean, Eddie Brock is like a typically like huge kind of like
right
guy. And I could almost buy the fact that Eddie Brock was smaller. Okay, fine. But Venom is not, I don't know. It was just weird.
Venom's terrifying.
Yeah, he didn't seem, Harry Osborn as the new Goblin seemed more terrifying, and he was generic. He wasn't even Green Goblin. He was just, I'm on a board and flying around. It didn't even feel like anything special. But even I was even more into that character than I was Venom. But then Tom Hardy's Venom, oh my gosh. Yeah. Wonderful. So well done. The Venom suit in Spider-Man 3, I didn't mind that. It was kind of weird that it had like the webbing lines on the suit, which I was like, why? But even then, it still looked pretty cool until he started talking. Then it was just...
The concept in my mind has always been that Venom essentially makes a copy of whoever it is that it comes in contact with, right? So it comes in contact first with Spider-Man, and so it copies its look and its appearance off of Spider-Man, even down to the lines on his suit.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Brock comes along and gets in contact with Venom, and so that's why even on Eddie Brock, the Venom still has the lines of the suit because it had adapted that from Spider-Man.
Yeah, I could see that. For sure.
Have you seen the newer Venom movie?
Yeah, the second one, has that been out?
There's a standalone Venom movie.
Oh, just the one. I thought you meant like Venom 2. I haven't seen it because I don't think that's out yet.
The first one that's just focused on Eddie Brock.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I mean, it's
really good.
It's weird to me because it's like it's weird seeing Venom as a good guy or an anti-hero. It's kind of feels like a Deadpool kind of situation. But it's different, but I'm not mad at it. At first, I was like, before I saw the movie, I was like, Eddie Brock and Venom is a good guy. Like, he's the hero. Like, this is stupid. But then I watched it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. They play off each other. They acknowledge each other. It's like, shut up, Venom. I'm trying to go use the bathroom. Oh, Eddie Brock, shut up. You're stupid. No, you are. Like, I love that.
Yeah, I like it. I thought they did a great job with the storyline, and I think the challenge of trying to incorporate the symbiote personality into his own.
Yeah.
He didn't seem like a crazy person all the time. I thought that was really well done. So yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, I followed Venom in the comics, and it was sort of that same thing that he really did have a checkered past, right? That he would do bad things, but then ultimately he'd always land on the side of good. And I think that is something that this movie has, I think, captured pretty well.
And I'm just waiting for the day, if it ever happens, which it doesn't look good, but hopefully with the new Spider-Man 3, if it goes the way we all think it might, to see that Venom interact with a Spider-Man.
Right.
And then maybe he becomes evil after that. Because like at this point, he's not evil, which it's enjoyable on its own. But if Spider-Man comes in, it's just like, hey, Eddie, let's be best friends. And then they start walking, people, let me tell you about my best. And they're like hopscotching and stuff. Like, I don't know. Who knows? I'm excited.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I hope not. But Spider-Man's always going to be really cool for me. Like, no matter what version it is. I mean, the only one I didn't like, it was not the live action, but it was like the comics and stuff. Oh gosh, what was it? The Ultimate Spider-Man, I think. It was a storyline where like the symbiote was a creation in a lab.
Oh yeah.
Where like Peter Parker's dad and Eddie Brock's dad or whatever it was accidentally created it or something like that. And it came out and it's like, we're gonna get you. And I didn't like that because I'm like, it's an alien. It's always been an alien. Like, why? Yeah. And even in 3, like the original, the Tobey Maguire, they didn't even explain like Venom at all. He's just like boom, crashes to Earth, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna jump on your little scooter. Okay, now I'm taking you over. There's no history there. There's nothing like why. There's no not Eddie Brock at first, and then he comes along, and it was just a mess. It was just really thrown in there, and they had the perfect story because along with the comics, like Venom comes to Earth because. I forget his first name, but J. Jonah Jameson's son is an astronaut. He goes to space, comes back, the symbiote's on his ship, and then he gets to Earth. Like, and didn't he play the same character basically in these movies? In Spider-Man, was it 2? I think, where Mary Jane was like dating him, and they were together, and Peter's all like, "Oh man," and his Peter Tingle was gone, basically. But yeah, I mean, they could have easily like planted the seed of Venom then when like they had the astronaut character. They had that whole thing set up, but they didn't even use it. So it was,
right.
I don't know. But yeah, speaking of not Marvel. Well, yeah, we're talking about Marvel. The big controversy right now, Disney and lawsuits and gosh,
there seems to be a lot of controversy and disagreement about who's really at fault in this whole thing. I think some people feel like, in some ways, Scarlett Johansson suing Disney over a contract disagreement is sort of like she's biting the hand that feeds her.
Sort of.
You go and make a movie, and they pay you millions of dollars, and then you go and turn around and kind of blow things up. And yeah, I know we had a discussion about that just on Friday.
Yeah,
with our friends over at the Great Geek Debates,
and
they had their view was even stronger than ours. And
a little bit.
Yeah, they really blame Scarlett Johansson on any issues that the new Black Widow movie has. Right, they feel like it almost blew any chances of that movie being successful out of the water.
And I know I kind of I didn't want to get like into a heated debate with them on Friday. Like, how dare you? Because it's like your show. I respect you and your views. But and I kind of was back and forth on the whole thing. Still am. Because that night on Friday we were talking about it, and I kind of said something along the lines of like, yeah, you did get paid $20 million. So I mean, like $20 million is more than I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And if I got plopped $20 million in my hand right now, I would probably fall over dead out of shock. But if I survived that, I would never have to think about working again. Some people can't do that. Some people blow their money so fast. Not to say that Scarlett Johansson does, but I don't know. $20 million is enough for 2 lifetimes for me. But at the same time, I think about it, and if there is actually a contract that says this movie will only be theatrically released, and that means your back end deal or whatever going on in the future, a certain percentage of theatrical sales, you get your initial big huge studio pictures. This is Disney, billions and billions of dollars.
Right.
They bought Star Wars. What was it for $2 billion or $4 billion or something like that? Yeah. So they have money to spend. So it's the way I look at it is if you agreed, okay, here's your $20 million for doing the movie, and then your percentage of sales on tickets. Knowing this, they go, well, let's go ahead and put it on Disney Plus because that's going to make Disney more money, $30 a pop instead of 12 or whatever. And so many more people will subscribe, millions of subscribers. They're going to make a lot of money. I get it. But I think the issue with that was Disney makes a whole lot more money. I don't know about more. I haven't seen numbers, but they make more for Disney Plus streaming as there's like premiere whatever events, and then the actors make nothing. There's nothing in there. I mean, if the rumors and the talk is true that their deal is supposed to be for theatrical, then they're not making money off these streams. And I think that was the issue. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, hey, you kind of owe me money. It's like the government taking too much tax out of you through the year and then only want to give you $12 at the end of the year. It's like, well, you owe me about $50. And it's not that much difference, whatever. But and I say such low numbers because 20 million to her is probably like, oh, that's like $12.
Right. I think part of the challenge has been, COVID has been horrible as far as with movie releases.
It's true.
If you're hamstrung to this idea that the only way that you're going to release Black Widow is in a theater, you think about how long they'd already delayed releasing the movie because of COVID.
Right.
Releasing it both ways, I think it ensured that they were going to make their bottom line no matter what. And I think that ultimately, number one is Scarlett Johansson needs to renegotiate her contract. Right? That happens quite often, especially in situations like these. This is, as they say, an act of God. It's not something necessary. It's not like the studios planned for COVID or wanted it to happen. But at the same time, you think of all the people that they're paying that are waiting on their paychecks too, right? And so, this is one of the few times where I feel unbelievably that I am somehow on the side of Disney. Generally, I feel like they're the Death Star of Disney gets what it wants.
Right. And I'm kind of on the fence. I don't think I can make if I had to sit here and say like, this is for sure, like side or side, pick one or get left behind. I'd be like, well, see you guys. I'm going to stay back here because I can see both sides of it equally. Like I can see her side. That's like, because of the COVID thing, I get that. Like it's a game changer.
Yeah.
And the movie was delayed over a year and they felt confident enough though at this point to say, well, capacities or limits are going away. This is happening. That's happening. We feel confident enough to release this movie theatrically, but then we're going to be like, you know what? Boom. We're going to slap on the thing anyway. If you were going to do that, they could have just like a year ago, put it on Disney Plus and said, it's the only way you can watch it.
Right.
And then that way they could have renegotiated over the last year and said, look, COVID is happening. We can't put this in theaters. We don't want to make it like sit and wait and then die down because I think that made it suffer too. All these other things came out after that or before that when, and it just kind of like toned it down and watered the excitement down.
Right.
And I think that might have been the best way to do it. Like just the part that I really disagree with is going after her. The attacks of like, I'm Disney. Scarlett Johansson is she hates people being safe. She loves COVID. She wants them all to die. Like, I don't think that's it at all.
No, I don't think so either. I think that she does want them to honor their agreement to what they had done. I think what's the shame is, generally speaking, when you sign a contract, it is something that you enter into an agreement with. I think that she should have kept this private between her and Disney.
Yeah,
you got to tell me that Scarlett Johansson doesn't have a team of lawyers that take care of her financials and everything else. They're there to go and fight those battles.
Exactly. Yeah.
She isn't exploited.
And Corey's got a good point, I guess. Plus, the contract was made years before COVID, so Disney was slow returning calls, and Scarlett's people were not fast enough pressing them. I'm on Scarlett's side. Disney knew what they were doing, making the lion's share of the money. That's one way to look at it. I mean, but the COVID thing is a concern. But I kind of keep going back and forth because if they were so concerned about the safety of people, which is great, then I don't know why they initially just didn't release the film. Well, I guess hindsight is easier to make that statement because we know now that like COVID lasted, and this still is going on. But at the time, Disney's like, well, this might be over in a couple months. So we'll just delay the movie. Oh, it's a couple more months. We'll delay the movie. They didn't really have the foresight to know how long this was going to last. So they couldn't have released it in the beginning. So I'm arguing against myself. It's hard for me to pick sides on anything anymore because I agree with both and see the valid points in both.
I think Disney, though, as Corey had pointed out, Disney knew that by streaming it, making it available on Disney Plus, they were going to bring in quite a bit of revenue that way.
Yeah.
And that was revenue that, because it hadn't been negotiated in a contract, it went right into their bank account instead of being given to those who had contract obligations.
And I think
it would have been fair, though, if they had said, we understand that we have this contractual obligation with you. This is what we're planning on doing. We want to make sure that we honor our agreement. And so you should get a certain portion of what's brought in from the streaming.
Yeah. I mean, I get the fact that screenings were more limited, less people were going. But they really could have, like you said, they really could have said, look, we're making because you know they got to be making millions off of the Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, $30 a piece. And I guess a family of 4 to 6 people are going to pay one $30 price instead of paying 5 or 6, $10 or $12 tickets, whatever.
That was the argument that I used with my wife to watch it at home. It was like,
right.
Honey, how much would we pay if we went to a theater to go see it?
I mean, there is the experience and the overall, the ambiance of the lights and all this stuff. But still, at the end of the day, if you're comfortable at home, I love seeing a movie on a huge screen. I'm going to go watch Jackass 4 on October 22nd.
Right.
If I'm by myself. I actually got in touch with an old friend from high school who, when we were in high school, we wanted to be on Jackass, and we would try to do little stunts, but we got too scared and we didn't do it. We're talking about going to do that, and I haven't seen him in years, so that's exciting. But, cool. I mean, I would $30 is a lot. So if it's just me, I'm going to opt to go to the theater if I have the choice, if it's not shut down, because it's just me. So I'm paying $30 or I'm paying $12 or $15 or whatever. But if it's a family of 5, 6 people, I totally get that. That way you don't have to sneak in your snacks. You could just go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And there's a bathroom. You can pause it. You don't have to
watch it as many times as you want.
Yeah, you can. The pausing is good because that way when you're at the theater yelling at the guy, pause it, I have to go to the bathroom, nobody looks at you weird. But yeah, I mean, but the thing with that whole situation is I've started to read more and more reports of well, now this actor's thinking about suing Disney. Well, now this actor's thinking about suing Disney because of the same thing, all the Disney movies that have come out over the last year, with the exception of the series, but they're not going to have theatrical releases anyway. But the movies, the actual films, similar situations where they got delayed and then they put on Disney Plus and then revenue changes, and I think it's fine to put them on there. It's you own the intellectual property, you own the distribution, you own these movies, so you can do whatever you want. If they want to release them for free on YouTube, they have the right to do that. But just make it fair. I mean, and then people gripe about she had $20 million, and yeah, again, $20 million is a lot of money. But if you're supposed to make $30 or $40 million, then shouldn't you want that money? And it's like going to your job. You were say an average worker goes and does 40 hours in a week. If your boss says, here's a 30-hour paycheck, we had to shift policies, and now you can only have some of this money. You're going to be mad. Yeah. So it
happened to me. I went in to get my paycheck, or my money hit my bank account, and I looked at it and I'm like, that's half of what I was expecting. You know what? I literally walked out to HR and said, hey, what happened with my paycheck? And she's like, oh, I made a mistake. I'll make sure that we fix it here quickly for you. And part of me goes, Disney could really solve a lot of its own problems by just simply, taking responsibility that it had an oversight or a mistake and rectifying that. That I will say that they'll end up losing a lot more money down the road going through litigation. If do not, get this straightened out right now.
I just hope that, we said the other night, I think I might have mentioned it on Friday, that even if this whole situation is resolved and everybody's friends, there's going to be a portion of the internet that's going to be like, I don't care, I hate her still. And it's just I don't think that should happen, but it's probably going to. Yeah. But eventually people will forget over time, I think.
I think that the concern has been that they're so angry about Scarlett Johansson that they go, I'm not going to go and watch another Disney Black Widow movie or which is a lie. How often have we heard people make the same kind of promise, and then they go and watch the movie. They go and watch the show.
That's another example of that. It's not Disney movies or anything like that, but I don't watch it so much anymore. But wrestling shows. I used to be, which I still kind of like read up on it and stuff like that. It still interests me somewhat. But going into chat groups and on Facebook and things like that, sort of how we met on the Heroes group, but with wrestling, they go, I can't watch this crap anymore. It's too boring. I'm never going to watch this. If this character wins, I'm never going to watch it again. And like 2 years later, you're reading the same comments from the same people. It goes with anything. It's like the people that say, I'm going to boycott NASCAR because of whatever reason, or I'm going to boycott Coca-Cola for whatever reason. They have a valid reason why they feel they want to do that. But then like 6 months to a year later, they're like, yeah, well, they changed and they're better now. I was like, oh, okay. That people, you want to not do it. And then you step away and you're like, I love it too much. But then it's like, you're critical of it. And I do that myself constantly. Like, I'm never playing this video game again, or I'm never doing this again. And a few days later, I'm doing it all over again.
Yeah. I think ultimately what that means is that the Black Widow franchise doesn't really have anything to worry about. We know.
I don't think so.
We know what their plan is. That Black Widow's sister is going to take on the mantle, and that she's probably going to be featured pretty heavily in the new Hawkeye movie. So, and
I think that like it probably will leave somewhat of a bad taste for some people, but again, people will get over it, I think. And if they don't, like, it might take a hit, but it won't. It's not the iceberg that sinks the Titanic.
No, it's not.
It's more like a broken window on the Titanic. But the air inside will be a little cold, but they'll be above water. And that's the kind of thing, talking about backlash in movies and stuff, looking at the Netflix series Masters of the Universe. We're going to bring this up a little bit.
I am so glad that we're bringing this up. I've watched Masters of the Universe and He-Man when I was younger. I wouldn't necessarily call myself one of the biggest fans, but I certainly watched it a lot. I think I watched it enough to be familiar with it, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan to the point that I was necessarily pissed if they changed anything.
That's kind of how I am. Like my uncle, he's like 6 years older than me, so he grew up a little bit before I did.
Right.
The Transformers in the 80s. The Transformers cartoon movie, all this stuff. Great.
Love Transformers.
Here comes Michael Bay. Now, I don't need to say much more. And my uncle's just like, oh, this is terrible. And I can see his point. But at the same time, I'm sitting here like, well, I mean.
Your uncle is right, by the way.
Yeah, and I just didn't grow up watching the cartoons and stuff, so it didn't affect me as much, like you said, with He-Man. Then they made a Power Rangers film in 2017, and I was like, I kind of see what you're saying. I enjoyed that film, but I can kind of see the idea of like, this is why you're pissed, because this is different and it should be this way.
Yeah, the first Transformers, in my opinion, it was solid. It was
good.
Enjoyable. And the 8 other ones that came after it were complete garbage. And I feel justified in saying that they just were. They were like a lot of movies. They're going to compensate for bad writing or bad storytelling with bigger explosions.
Yeah.
Fight scenes.
Well, that's one thing I do say about Michael Bay, which I'm not defending him in his Transformer days or anything, but the explosions and this and that, that's like a side note kind of thing, which he always does more practical effects than visual. And I love that, because looking at Bad Boys, like the Bad Boys film series, movies like that, and where there's cars flipping and they're actual cars instead of like CG or green screen, and it's like actually happening and this and that. I love that kind of thing. But with the Transformers, they're characters, they're living things, so it's not. I don't know. They made the characters kind of dumb sometimes, and then my uncle's big gripe with one of them was when Megatron bows down to the Fallen. Or whoever he was. He's like, Megatron is the ultimate. Like, he wouldn't bow down to anybody. So I can see that one. Now, with the He-Man stuff, everybody's like, oh, this is terrible. You're too woke. It's too bad. It's like, I'm like, I haven't seen it, but I kind of know a little bit about what happens, and I understand. People are like, you killed off the main character. I'm sitting here thinking, though, it's like, well, technically they didn't, because this show isn't called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Right.
He-Man was He-Man in the Masters of the Universe. So he was the star of that show. I look at it as he's not the star of this show because it's not a He-Man show. It's set in that world, but it's about these other people. So there's that part of it to look at. And
I understand that people have an expectation, right? And that's always been the problem when you translate something that people have seen in a comic book or a TV show, translated into a movie, that they've already kind of created that movie in their head, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's always been the challenge. You're never going to create something where it's one of those very rare instances where it happens perfectly, where your expectations meet reality.
Right.
That said, Kevin Smith and the other writers that were involved in it and the creators for it, they did a great job. It was an enjoyable movie. I think that because He-Man is kind of removed from the picture, it does allow us to focus on the other characters, right? And somebody made a comment about how, this is exactly what happened in Justice League. Superman is dead.
And Corey made a good comparison too. I've heard one other person say this. They kind of took the page out of the Transformers where they kill off Optimus Prime. Kevin Smith killed He-Man, and so that's a really good comparison too.
It is just like Superman and Justice League. And by taking that main character out of the mix, what it does is now we get to focus on the Flash. Now we get to focus on Wonder Woman. Now we can focus on Batman and on Cyborg, right? That it allows us to focus on those characters that might have been relegated to the background, and they get
exactly
out there. And so I do feel like, and Aquaman, I don't want to leave Aquaman out.
Well, it's okay.
And we see the same thing though in Masters of the Universe, right? That characters that maybe we would have overlooked because He-Man's not there, they really do get an opportunity to shine.
They do. And Kevin Smith made the comparison of he got pretty upset with some fans because they're like, you ruined it, you did this and you did that. And he's like, no, they're accusing him of lying about it, saying this He-Man is great. And then a bait and switch kind of thing. He made a good point though. He was like, you think Mattel would really let me just kill off and destroy their main character? And you look at toys, all this stuff, you know what? We're done making money on toys. We're tired of that. Go ahead. Destroy the best thing about this. No. There's 5 more episodes to come. There's a whole other part of it. And, they're going to bring it back. And then some people say, they're just going to do it because of backlash and because people hated it. It's I don't want to hate on people saying that. I think that was discussed on Friday. But I'm they have a plan when they first go into this.
They do. I mean, there's a story. There's an overarching story that they're trying to tell, and part of that means that you're going to have some drastic things that are happening. There were a number of characters that, along the way, ended up sacrificing themselves, for the good of the team, for the good of the universe, and I think that was ultimately, I think, what Kevin Smith was doing, is that sometimes in the quest to do what's right and to do what's best, that sometimes you end up making the ultimate sacrifice.
Right. And the interesting side note too, who voices He-Man is Chris Woods from Supergirl.
Yeah. Which
is really cool. And he was also in Kevin Smith's last movie, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. He was a small little bit part in the audience or whatever. But it was cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that he had been a part of the Kevin Smith verse. I know that he is the real life husband of Melissa Benoist.
Yeah, I think they all kind of got connected when Kevin Smith started directing some of the episodes of Supergirl and Flash and stuff. And then I was almost watching his last movie. And I said on Twitter I might go on a Kevin Smith rant, but on Twitter I was watching. No, I said that on Twitter. I was watching his last movie, following the production of it in 2019 when they were producing it and putting behind the scenes clips online. They were talking about I've worked with these kids on CW and I'm going to put some of them in my movie. I'm I was hoping for Grant Gustin to be in that movie somewhere, but he wasn't. But I mean, they had Melissa Benoist, they had Chris Woods, and then the guy that plays Brainy, I don't remember his name, but he's also he has a small part in that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Kevin Smith knows what he's doing. People can sit there and kind of like, yeah, I'm not saying you have to agree with Kevin Smith just because I like him doesn't mean everybody has to. Because his stuff is definitely got like a certain audience, and if you're not out in that box, then you're just not gonna get it, or you're not gonna like it. It's not, and that's okay. The Kevin Smith box is nowhere near as big as the Marvel box or the DC box or the whatever box, you know. But he knows comics, I think. I mean, he owns like probably the world's most famous comic book store, which that's what they call it. But I mean, the TV series Comic Book Man, you know, they filmed it on AMC. They ran it for like 7 years on that show. And he grew up reading comics. He wrote several comics. He's written so many of the Green Arrow comics, and I've got a bunch of those. I still need to read them. He wrote the original, well, he was supposed to write and direct the original Green Hornet film when it was first being talked about. He wrote a screenplay for a Superman movie that was supposed to feature Nicolas Cage. And all these things, he's been involved in this comic book world more probably than he has been involved in his own movies. So like, I trust he knows what he's talking about and knows what he's doing, because at the end of the day, Mattel would not be like, you know what, that's crap, but do it anyway.
Right. I think that anybody who knows anything about Kevin Smith knows that he has a genuine love of whatever he writes or produces or is involved in. And I think that we need to trust that vision. He's not going to go and destroy it, but he might take us on an emotional roller coaster in order to get there.
And even if he does like accidentally destroy something, which I don't think he will, but he's got like this biggest fear of causing other people harm or whatever, like making a movie of somebody else's money and it failing. And because he's made some movies in the past that didn't even make the budget back. It was total bomb. It wasn't his fault. It just happened. And he's like, oh man, I wasted their money. I hate the fact that they trusted me. Like, oh my gosh. And he's harder on himself than any fan online is. So
what I will say, however, is there are plenty of people out there who are going to go out and watch Masters of the Universe because of the controversy. Corey had brought it up to me to mention it on the show, and I decided to go and watch it. My wife sat there and watched it with me. My kids watched it with me, and hey, I ended up really enjoying it. And you know, do I get why people are frustrated with some decisions? Sure, I do. I get it. At the same time, he made a good movie, or he made a good show, you know, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the whole thing resolves. So,
and it's interesting too that people focus on the one thing they don't like,
right,
as opposed to all the millions of wonderful things that they did. I mean, look at the direction, look at the way this character moves, the way this character sounds. Like, he was the showrunner of this whole thing. It wasn't just like he wrote an episode or two. He was in control of the entire thing, and his direction and guidance and stuff made the whole thing what it was. Even if you hate one part about it, it looks beautiful. Like, I've never seen it, but the art, the animation, the sound, it looks amazing.
It's great.
Storyline aside, like, it looks amazing.
Right. I mean, I think that, bottom line is even with He-Man dead, they keep doing flashbacks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are so many flashbacks throughout the entire show that it's almost like he's not really gone.
Yeah, and then when he comes back, it's like you're gonna forget he was ever gone anyway.
Right. Mind you, he comes back only to get killed again, almost instantaneously.
Well,
so he dies twice. But as we found out before, nobody stays dead. It's
right.
But as my wife says, it's sort of like it's supernatural, right? Where I don't know how many times the Winchester boys died and got brought back. I lost count. So
how many times has Sarah Lance died?
Exactly.
And now she's not even alive, technically.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Legends if anybody hasn't been up to date with Legends.
Right.
Which I think they had an episode tonight, maybe, or no? I don't know, because everything is on break and it's confusing. And
I think they had their season finale already.
I don't remember that. Maybe I missed it.
I didn't finish it. I think there was something going on with Constantine.
Yeah, they have an episode or two left, I think. I don't think they finished it yet because he was like on the quest for his magic, and he started getting like involved, almost like a drug storyline where he was involved with like dark magic, and they had like one more episode left. I don't know if it ever aired. Maybe it did, and I missed it. I don't know. I'll have to check it out.
I feel really bad. There are so many things that I want to see, and
yeah,
I just sometimes struggle to catch up. You know, if people don't know, I'm this summer I taught summer school.
Yeah.
And as soon as summer school was done, I then flipped over and did my administrative job after that. And so that just finally wrapped up on Friday. But I start work again as a full-time high school administrator Monday morning. And sometimes I just don't have time to breathe. So
yeah. I was reading Corey's comment here about He-Man. That's something we've addressed. Like OG He-Man was episodic. This seems like, kind of a whole season is supposed to be like one big story, one big episode. And it's like it's really is like a movie. And so like you can't really judge it until you've seen the whole thing. It's like you're not going to stop reading a book halfway through and be like, throw it away. I mean, some people might, but I mean, that's how I look at it. I haven't seen it, but I know so much about it already just from reading and listening to people. I'm going to watch it eventually.
Yeah, but it really does end these episodes here at the halfway point. It really does end with the ultimate cliffhanger, right? And why? Because they want you to go and watch.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It happened in so many shows where they end the episode on the cliffhanger to make you want to watch the next one that comes along.
And I hate how Netflix does that, but it's also great because they'll do, not every show does this on Netflix, but a lot of them now are doing it where they'll have half the season, and it's part one. And then, I don't know, 3 or 4 months later, they make you wait, and then part two. And you're like, why you do this to me? Because you'll forget that it's only part one, and you'll get to like the 5th episode and then go like, next one, because it usually starts counting down, and you're like, wait, what? And you start freaking out, and it's like, part 2 coming in April or something. And it's like, what? And it's June now or whatever, or August now. Wow.
They really, though, do dangle the carrot a lot. But I think they understand psychology. They understand people, and that's the reason why they do it.
I kind of do, though. With that said, like I do like the way they do it because it's annoying, and you're like, oh, they gave you so much. But it's better than like some shows on like Paramount Plus. Like I've been watching iCarly. I've been telling everybody about it all the time. No, I don't tell people about it. I talk about it on here, but I still don't know why I'm still watching that show. But I am, and they do it one a week. Kind of like, Disney did with Loki. And I should have used Loki as an example. Nobody had to know I didn't watch that if it came out. I could just said I did. But instead I go with iCarly. But the idea is the same. One episode a week or whatever. And so with Netflix, they come out with like 5 at once, make you wait a few months, and then 5. It's better to do that, I think, than to have 10 or 15 episodes once a year. Because then you're waiting 11 months, like all these, like almost a whole year, because of whatever time it takes you to watch the one season plus the rest of that time before new ones come out. And that's what I'm waiting on with Cobra Kai. It's like we just got Cobra Kai on New Year's Eve, or was it Christmas Eve or something like that?
Right.
In December. And
it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, it feels like it's been like 6 years ago. But it was less than a year. I kind of wish they would see. They don't do that with Cobra Kai. They just give you, here they all are. They don't do that whole part 1, part this, part that, which I hope they don't do it with season 4, because I think season 4 is the first fully produced season from Netflix, I think. Because I think the first 2 aired on YouTube Red or whatever it was called. And then season 3 was produced but sold, and then Netflix aired that one. So I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't just curse us all with Cobra Kai season 4 part 1. If I see that part 1 on there, I'm going to lose my mind. But
we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will. Oh gosh, we've talked about a lot so far.
The one issue or the one show that we haven't really talked on, at least here on our program, is Superman and Lois.
Yeah. I'm excited. See, when we were talking on Friday, I sat there. It was like everybody was talking about when Morgan Edge escaped the little kryptonite cell or whatever, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't think I saw that one. And I felt like I was like, oh my gosh, I missed one. And I was so ashamed of myself. And then after that show on Friday, I got on my phone. I'm just like, okay, good. I had seen it, but I just forgot the very ending. And I read the recap again. And I was like, oh, I remember that now.
So how did you forget the ending? I thought that ending was like mind-blowing.
It was. And I don't know what made me like forget about it momentarily, but I think it had something to do with the fact that it was off for a couple weeks.
Right.
And once I read the recap, I started to remember every other detail except for the very end. I might have looked away or blinked or something. I don't know. But like I remembered hearing the audio and seeing him in the cell and then seeing the hole in the thing. I guess at the time when I first saw it, I never put two and two together that he let his mind go and the other guy like came into his brain or his conscious or whatever you want to call it. And that's what caused him to be like so powerful and stuff. Maybe I just didn't connect the dots immediately, and that's why I forgot that it happened. Or maybe I was distracted or something and thought that was a preview for the next one. I really don't know. But like once I read the recap, I remembered it all, and it made sense. And I was just glad I didn't embarrass myself by not seeing it at all.
That was still, it was just crazy. You know, there he was in that green cell, surrounded by soldiers, and you know that should have been enough to hold him.
Yeah, I think, and it was for a while.
It was until I think he essentially submitted to whatever personality he had brought into himself. And I'll be honest, I don't really know the backstory behind who it's supposed to be.
And this is what Corey's asking us for. It's kind of good timing on that comment because we're literally starting to talk about that right now.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there have been a couple of things.
Yeah.
You know, we know that Edge had been trained in his youth to no longer feel pain. And I feel like part of that training had made him at least a little bit resilient to the effects of kryptonite.
And you know, in the comics, I haven't kept up with current Superman. There's so much Superman throughout history, but from what I remember, there was a point where Superman became immune to kryptonite, or maybe not so much immune, but like it had almost no effect on it.
Right.
And that's probably part of that. But without feeling the pain, he wouldn't show any visible signs of like suffering. The part that gets me is like you said, he essentially submitted himself to this other essence or this other Kryptonian being to take over his body, which I guess I didn't think Kryptonians could do. I thought you had to be like a human in order to do that, but it turns out I guess you don't. And so whatever being it was took his body and flew into the sun, essentially, I guess. And that's why they went to the sun to recharge from the effects of the kryptonite.
Right. Morgan Edge had essentially done what he was trying to do to Clark.
Yeah.
That's essentially what we had seen. And as we found out, they were trying to essentially put the mind of Zod into his body.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that it is Zod himself that's in Morgan Edge now.
Right.
Because I kind of saw Morgan Edge and thought when he first revealed himself and like took his thing off and all that, I thought he was supposed to be Zod at first. Because it's like, holy crap, he's got powers. Like, what is this? What's going on? Like, but it's interesting for sure. And as we talked about on Friday, I still have this feeling that somebody's gonna die in these next 2 episodes.
Right.
I don't know who. It could be the milkman or the mailman going like, la la la, delivering the mail, meteor boom, dead. Like, I don't know, but somebody.
We had discussed this, that who, if they were to die, we would be okay with. And the 2 people that we had said we were okay with, and again, no offense to the actors, to the characters, because they've been written to be, I think, easily hated, is General Lane, who I can't stand, and also Kyle Cushing, Lana's husband.
And the more Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I see Kyle as being this death. And as everybody agreed on Friday, if it's done, it must be like a sacrificial kind of like redemption. And I think that's what's going to happen. Is all this? Everybody in Smallville hates their family now. They're like, "Oh, we hate you. It's your fault. This and that." And he's like kicked off the fire team for now, and all this and that. And it's just awkward. Anytime he sees his buddies, he's like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? Oh, I got to go back. My wife wants me to do something or whatever." They have to rush away from him. And I think there's going to be a point where the whole town looks to him, like not wanting to, but looks to him to save them somehow or something. And maybe he steps in on Morgan Edge, like, "You turned your back on me. I thought you were a good guy." And then he gets killed trying to stand up for everybody else. That makes the most sense to me story-wise. Out of anybody. General Sam Lane could just, I don't know, I don't care. He could get hit by a bus. I'd be fine with that.
Right.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be one of the two of them. I really do.
I think probably my money right now is on Kyle. I think Kyle is set up to really be number one. He needs a redemption. I think that they're gonna end up allowing both him and his daughter Sarah to finally heal things over a little bit.
Yeah,
a really damaged relationship. So I think they're going to be able to kind of heal that relationship a little bit. They're going to allow him to sacrifice himself for his town that he loves.
That's a good question. I mean, we've asked that question so many times. Like, where's Supergirl? Where's Supergirl? I don't think the question itself is getting old. I just think that, like, at this point, we're not going to have Supergirl. I don't know what happens with that show, but we talked about this, and Supergirl doesn't need really to be on there. It'd be nice to see her, sure, but
or maybe we could just see, Clark send her a text message or something, just to prove that she exists. Right?
Unless she gets killed, and maybe she gets killed off on Supergirl.
Right. Or maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe John Diggle could come back and just say, yeah, your cousin Kara says hi. And then
I just picture Diggle walking in, like Diggle walks in like, "Clark, she's dead. She's dead. She died. Bye." And then leaves.
I mean, I don't know exactly how they did it, but Diggle has become sort of like the Stan Lee of the Arrowverse.
I mean, kind of.
Pops in, you're like, "What are you doing here?" I personally love John Diggle, and I'm excited for every opportunity for him to show up. But yeah, I agree. Part of me wonders if Supergirl has been in the Phantom Zone longer than we realize.
Now, I did catch up with Supergirl to where we see her come out, and that was their last episode before their hiatus.
Right.
I don't know if or when it comes back. I want to watch the rest of the season just because it's the last one. I'm not going to go back and watch the last 3 or 4 before this happens because it's just too much to catch up on. I'll watch the remainder of the season, and then I'll go back and watch the whole series through again probably.
You know what I mean? Now that we know that these shows are happening simultaneously, there's not some type of, it's not taking place in the future. This is all taking place in the present. The reason why she hasn't swooped in to help out Superman is because she's got her hands tied,
right?
Being trapped, in.
And she was in the Phantom Zone for like that whole season,
right?
I think I didn't see the earlier parts of it. I went through and saw select episodes, like the one where they went back in time to try to save Kara from going to the Phantom Zone in the first place. It was really cool, and that's where I saw. I'm so glad I picked that episode to watch because I saw the little Smallville nod where they had the little barn and the lights, so the cheesy string lights from like the 1990s, 2000s, and all that stuff. And I loved that. I was like, okay, this is cool, and I do want to watch the rest of the season just because it's the last. And I did the same with Arrow. Well, by that point, I was like hooked on Arrow anyway, but I always like watching the ends of seasons, especially shows I've watched in the past. I'm just like, I have to see how this ends. Like, who dies? How do they die? Are they really dead?
Right. Well, I really hope that as they're, tying up loose ends, that they give Kara, the ending that she deserves. And everybody's out there going, "Oh, somebody's going to die," which might happen. But I feel like, Supergirl has had such a really sad for being the paragon of hope.
Yeah.
She really has, she really hasn't had. She had friends,
Yeah.
but I feel like she's really been pretty lonely.
She does. I mean, she seems very lonely. And I think, too, like, talking about somebody's going to die, I read something about a funeral scene or something, and I'm like, I don't want to read anymore because I don't know if it's aired and I missed it or what, but I don't want to know who's dead.
Yeah.
All I know is that if she does die, it makes Oliver's sacrifice pointless.
Yeah.
I don't know why I pointed behind me like he's back there, but, like, it's, it makes it kind of pointless because he sacrificed himself so that Barry and her could live. And if she gets killed, it's like, what was the point?
I know the danger in hypothesizing because often people get it wrong. However, we do know that the Legion of Superheroes comes back.
Yeah.
We end up with Win returns. We end up. Yeah, and Corey, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, the Legion.
She's not going to die. She's simply going to go into the future with the Legion, and I think that is probably the happiest ending we could really hope for.
You think they're going to give her a funeral so that, like, her Earth identity is dead, but she goes to the future and lives on and does whatever, and that's why she has a funeral. And then she can pop in on Legends. She can come back and visit Barry, like, hey, don't tell anybody. I'm not really dead. Or whatever,
Yeah. I think that would make sense to me, that if she knew that she wasn't coming back, that she would officially cut ties and have a funeral for her life as Kara Danvers. To me, that would make sense. And it would explain why people think that she really dies.
Exactly.
I feel like she really does deserve a chance to continue on, and it leaves the door open for, I don't know, maybe a spin-off show of of the Legion of Superheroes.
I could get behind the Legion show with her being on it eventually.
Yeah. Consider how many characters that Supergirl has that we don't want to lose, right? Martian Manhunter, Dreamer, Brainy.
Brainy's a good character. Martian Manhunter is great.
Yeah, David Harewood.
So many good people on that show. I mean, the one thing I don't see happening, and I know she's leaving, television for now to, raise her child and everything and have a normal life for a little while, and it's great. But if she ever decided to come back to a character or something, I don't ever think that she would be a good character to have on Legends. If you have a Kryptonian on Legends, it's like you don't need the rest of them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those characters that it's like the whole point of Legends is these characters that have no real bearing on history, no importance, no consequences if they die or not. They don't matter historically. And so Supergirl coming on and be like, but then again, if she fake dies and goes to the future, then to the world she is dead.
Right.
And so historically speaking, she would have no,
I think it's a lot like when they tried bringing Wally West on.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. Personality-wise, he didn't fit with that group. They didn't
Not as much.
They didn't know how to write him.
I think if Wally was there now with Bayrod and like that whole thing, they're like, dude, bro, we're smoking. Dude, do you have some cookies? Like that would work with those two guys, I think. Yeah. Like they could be buddies and it would work.
There would still be, though, too much of a Scooby-Doo kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah.
But I feel like, Wally West and Flash and Superman and Supergirl, they're too OP. Right? They're so overpowered that essentially they'd go on missions and you really wouldn't need anybody else. And so Legends has always been about the team. And, my heart had always been that Legends would ultimately become our idea of the Justice League. And at one point, they had been really, really darn close to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've taken a tremendous. I'm gonna probably get a lot of hate for this, but I feel like Legends has taken a huge, gigantic step back from being, legitimate members of the Justice League.
Well, yes,
sort of like an entertaining group of people that kind of sort of work together.
And I don't know much about the next episodes, but they're talking about it, and they're saying they're going to get in a situation where they have to face real world problems. That's like really all the tease and like synopsis and stuff. Like that's all they're saying, and it's like, so they're going to be like on Earth in an apartment or something like that. I love the goofiness of Legends, I really do. But yeah, they're not taken seriously, or they couldn't be taken seriously as like members of a big, huge team,
right?
And they're not even part. Like the whole point of what that show was is a lot different now. It went from Rip Hunter like recruiting them to be like people to help to now they're just working for themselves. There's no time bureau. There's none of this. It's just them basically. And Gary the alien, which I'm still shocked by that. Like a Gary and alien. That's so weird. But I don't know. I love the show. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't see it going past next season.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, because what can they do?
I appreciate the humor aspect of the show.
Yeah.
What I wish that they would do, and I think that would really strengthen the show a lot, is if they kept the humor, but balanced it with great fighting scenes. There was still some serious moments in it. I feel like that would make it feel like it's not just a joke show.
Right.
Right now, because they've gone to such extremes of exaggeration with it, I can't take it seriously in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's the one element that the show is lacking that I really miss. I can't take it seriously, and because I can't take it seriously, it just doesn't seem very important. Steven, are you there? Hello? All right. So, Steven, you kind of froze up on me there.
Hey, we're here.
Oh, you're there?
I'm here. Are you here?
I'm here.
Yeah, clearly you're here. I hear you, but I don't see myself moving.
Yeah, you're totally frozen on my end. It's funny because I go and make, my first major criticism of Legends, and it was like I got shut off right at that moment.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like the time bureau is like.
I know. Mark Guggenheim is like reaching through and turning us off.
I still don't know why I'm frozen. I'm going to take myself off and back on real quick.
All right. And here I am all by myself.
And I'm still frozen.
You're still frozen. Well, hey, I think that instead of us doing a Let It Go duet here, we'll go ahead and maybe just call this a day.
We could.
Yeah, you're still frozen.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. It keeps muting me. It's so weird. I don't know why my internet, like for some reason, like I'm a robot now, folks. You can't see me, but I'm talking. Some reason I think it was my network adapter, because I have this old desktop computer and my network adapter disconnects sometimes, or the router loses signal at something, and it froze us up, and now I'm still frozen and I don't get it. I could refresh the page if we wanted to keep talking about this, but
I think we've actually covered a lot of stuff here in this.
Really have.
Yeah.
We really have. It just feels so weird to see myself frozen.
Yeah. And like a mid cough or something.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow. That's so weird. I don't get it. I'm still here, but I'm not. All right. While I'm still here, at least sound wise, I go ahead and put on the Twitter handles and everything. And it's such a weird way to end the show, but I mean, I guess it's hard to look at a picture of me and talk to it. We can let's see, get these on here. So strange. I don't get it. Everything was really, really smooth up until that point. Okay.
All right, Twitter stuff, and then we'll also just remind everybody to make sure that they go and subscribe on YouTube.
I wonder something really quick. Let's see here. I'm going to try to reset something real quick so that at least I'm here to finish the show off.
Okay.
It feels really strange to not be on it. Oh, yes.
You're on.
We're back.
Okay.
Now we're going to talk for 2 more hours. No, I'm just I think what happened is the little there's a little app that I use for my phone to connect wirelessly and Wi-Fi to the thing, and when the Wi-Fi hiccuped, it really screwed the app up, and I just had to reset that. But yeah, you were sorry about that. I think I might have accidentally interrupted you. You were going on with something. We mentioned the Twitter handles, and then you said,
no, I was talking about YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Promoting our YouTube channel for Between a Pod and a Hard Place, and yeah, I mean, if you're looking for our content, if you're looking for our past videos and recordings, that really is the place to go.
Yeah, and I would put a link in this, but like last time I tried to put that up, it was like youtube.com/channel.225-22watch --
Right.
all this weird.
Yeah, maybe we need to make sure that we just, along with the video, include the link to our YouTube. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the link to it. We'll start doing it. I'm gonna start putting it out on Twitter more too. But like as far as the show goes, I realized that unless you're watching it live, the link down here later on, watching it back it's not going to be clickable, I guess. But it would be in the comments. So if you're watching this back later and you can scroll through the comments, you can click the links.
Right.
But we'll start doing that more. Hopefully, there's a way to like shorten the link so it's easier to remember. But you could follow us on Twitter, as always. And I need to get like a little YouTube button because our new little picture there on Twitter has our little Twitter thing and little Facebook thing. I need to get the YouTube thing there and have it be a button of some kind. But follow us on Twitter at Pod and Hard Place, at CJ Kirk 1979, and at Stephen Colton, and of course Mark Guggenheim, who's apparently really mad at Chris for not liking the season of Legends because he froze us.
He just shut us off.
But it's odd though. He didn't shut you off. He shut me off. Maybe because he's like here, like, oh, we can't.
By punishing you.
Yeah, he's like, look what you're doing to your friend. Do you see this? Do you see the punishment he's taking? But yeah, Mark's a great guy, and
yeah, he really is.
I talked to him not too long ago. Like Green Lantern is coming along nicely. He says it's coming along great. And also, I sometimes forget he's got that what is it? The Troll Hunters or the Trolls movie or whatever. I'm not really into those, so I don't want to like be disrespectful to Mark. And it's like I don't know much about it. I'm sorry, but I always want to talk about what he's doing. He's a good dude, and he's helped us out quite a bit.
Yeah, even just giving us permission to name drop him.
Yeah,
and great. It's really opened some doors. So
it really has. I was gonna throw. Yeah, we talk about those guys enough. Sorry, Jay and Todd. We're not going to talk about you this time, except for this speech explaining why we're not going to talk about you. Those guys are great. I'm still looking at ways to hang up the Northwood pizza box since I'm going to have this set up. I kind of want to put it like somewhere over here or somewhere where it's like on screen the entire time.
Right. And there is totally I can see like a space above your couch that's like nice pizza box sized.
Yeah, I've got so many random things hanging on my wall back here, like That thing over there, you can't really make it out too much, I don't think, but it's an old Nintendo poster.
Okay.
It's not an old poster, but it's a picture of an old Nintendo with accessories and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
down and just put up the pizza box.
Yeah, I mean, I really do want to make it into a clock. Do you want one of those? I think you can get them at Michael's or like art places like that, where you can just glue in or like put in the little hands, and on the other side it's just a little gearbox, and that's really it. Takes like one little AA battery. I could probably make a box in 10 minutes or make a clock in 10 minutes, and then every time it's pizza time. And I was talking to Jay a couple of days ago, and he's talking that they are going to be doing a Northwood Pie DVD. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, so Jay, if you're listening to this, sorry, but I don't think it's a huge. I don't know when or the details, and maybe we'll get to be involved in that in some way.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would love to go and get their hands on a copy.
Oh yeah, we might. Hopefully, we can make a special feature.
Yeah.
I told him I'm down to do like a podcast with them as an audio commentary, and like record it and like do it this way, but then pull the audio and be like, here, use this for the commentary. But yeah, that's up to them though. It's not up to us to decide.
Yeah, we'll have to cross our fingers.
Right. Yeah.
See if it'll work. So.
All right. Well, this has been fun, and now that I'm back on, we can go ahead and leave.
Right. At least better late than never. We end on a high note. Yeah,
I mean, it was a good show. Now that Mark Guggenheim has calmed down and reset our internet connections.
Right.
And just for the record, Mark Guggenheim is not an evil, controlling person.
No.
So he's under the influence of Bebo. Bebo mad. And once again, happy Spider-Man Day to everybody out there. Go watch every Spider-Man movie right now.
Hey, I'm sorry that I didn't buy you a present.
Yeah, we should have gotten each other like webbing or something like tacky spider web from a Halloween store.
Right. Silly string.
Oh, that would have been better because they even have those Spider-Man marketed ones where you have the thing and it just shoots it out. That would have been great. All right, well, I'll look forward to next week, and hopefully we'll have a lot more to talk about. And coming up at the end of August, on August 29th, we have Jordan Elsass coming on.
We do. That's huge.
And hopefully we'll add more names to the list of August. Hopefully we'll add more names coming up.
Yeah.
We'll but it's been fun, as always. And we'll talk next week.
All right. I will see you then.
All right. Take care.
All right.